Alrighty, we're finally ready to head to Southern Swamp. So to start out this 3-day venture, you want to play the Song of Time backwards to slow down time to 1/3 that of normal. The inverted Song of Time is one of the hidden songs that the Scarecrow mentions when you talk to him. Before you leave Clocktown, you should run around to the side of the clock tower itself and slash the owl statue here with your sword to activate it. I already did this in an earlier video, but I'm just pointing it out in case you haven't done it yourself. Now when you're all ready, you want to go ahead and run to the south exit and speak with the guard while not wearing the Deku mask, and he'll notice your sword after a moment and allow you to go out into Termina Field. So in the first 3 videos of this chapter, we ran around collecting a ton of cool stuff. Most noticeably, there's the adult wallet, which allows you to carry more rupees. There's the blast mask, which allows you to explode, and the bunny hood, which lets you run super fast, and also the great fairy mask, which allows you to attract stray fairies in the upcoming temple. We also got several pieces of heart to extend our max life, and all of those things are optional at this point, so don't feel too bad if you plan on getting them later or not at all. So if you skipped ahead to this video and are joining me now, those are some of the highlights that you missed out on in the previous 3 videos. Out in Termina Field, you just want to run straight ahead past the green choo-choo and go through that hollowed-out log. Our destination is straight ahead, and I realize it looks a little bit confusing here because the walls of the southern Termina Field are all trees and everything, but there's an exit to the far south that you can see on your minimap, and once you get close to it, though, you'll be forced to watch this movie in which Tattle explains that some of her memories from when she and Tail first met the Skull Kid. So once that clip is finally over, you want to run around the tree and follow the path to the south to move on to the next area, which has several green and red choo-choos. They will constantly reappear after you defeat them, so just ignore them unless they come after you and become a problem, or if you want to collect the stuff they have inside them. So near the tree in the center of this open area, you'll encounter a new enemy, which is called a Bad Bat. And no, I'm not mistaken with the name. Typically the bat enemy in the Zelda universe is called a Keys, and they are actually present in this game as well. Bad Bats act and sound identical to Keys, and even doing the same amount of damage as that same enemy in this game, so I'm not really sure why Nintendo decided to have 2 different variations of essentially the same enemy. Anyway, you want to go ahead and kill all the Bad Bats in this area, and then put on your Deku mask so you can shoot a bubble at the Bad Bat that is on the vines on the side of the tree. And once it's dead, you can climb up these vines and collect the piece of part that is on the very top, which is so conveniently flat. Isn't that odd? So hop down and run off to the east. If you look at your minimap, it's the side area with the sign that labels it as the Swamp Shooting Gallery. We actually can't do anything about that building at the moment, but right next to it there is a nifty spot where you can load up on rupees. Just next to the door there are some bushes on the higher ledge that give you about 40 rupees a whack or so, and you can enter the building and then spin through the bushes again to do it over again. So anyway, this is just a great place early on to make some quick money. So you can easily rack up the rupees and get up to like 200 or so. Once you have at least 30 or so, you want to go ahead and run back towards the center, and there's a new enemy here, which you'll also see in the next area, but these are Deku Babas, and they're a fairly common Zelda enemy, but they'll reach out and try and bite you if you get too close, but you'll easily be able to defend against them with your shield too. You just want to wait for a gap between their attacks and strike them. They're actually quite easy to defeat in your Deku Scrub form, so you can simply spin next to them repeatedly and you can kill them before they even have a chance to fight back. They drop Deku Nuts when defeated, which is pretty cool because you can use those to stun enemies. So if you are, in need of Deku Nuts to fight harder enemies, you can always go kill some Deku Babas in this area anyway. You want to work your way to the southern portions of this pre-swamp place, and you'll see Tingle is floating around out here, so you want to shoot him down with a bubble, and then purchase his map of Woodfall for 20 rupees. With that in hand, you want to go ahead and continue on into the first part of Southern Swamp. Now in this next little clip, it shows some of the highlights of our current location, and notice that it shows a frog that is sitting on top of a log croaking away. And try and say that 10 times fast. These little dudes become important for a later side quest, so just put that away in your memory for now, and we'll deal with that later. Once you regain control, you want to go ahead and spin through the bushes here for some rupees if you didn't collect any yet, because we will need some soon. Then you want to run over to the right side where you'll find a new enemy called a Mini Baba. These miniature Deku Babas don't have a stem yet, they're just a bulb or something, but they're incredibly easy. And the only way for them to hurt you is literally if you step on them, so if you have trouble facing these guys and die against them, then maybe you should find a different game to play. Anyway, they drop Deku Nuts when defeated, so that's pretty sweet. In the grass here, there's also a Deku Stick, which is a new item, so go ahead and pick that up as well. And it allows you to light torches and potentially deal more damage to enemies, more so than your regular sword, and especially if you use a little trick, but I will explain more about that later. For now, you want to go ahead and slash up the owl statue here with your sword to wake it up. Then run in the opposite direction, and there's a building here called the Swamp Tourist Information Center or whatever, but we can't do anything in there yet, so instead, put on your Deku Mask and hop along the lily pads here, following them to an area on the left. Now you can technically just swim in the water here and follow the lily pads, but either way, this will take you through a small area with a Deku Baba and a Mini Baba, and then you'll find the Magic Hags potion shop just past that. You want to go ahead and ignore that building as well for now, and just run around to the back to find the Woods of Mystery. Ooh, sounds spooky. Now, several games in the Zelda series have had the Lost Woods, which is a maze that is very easy to get lost in, thus the name, and in some of the games make you start over if you take a wrong turn. Majora's Mask does this as well, but it does it in a slightly different way, and it has a different name, but it still has that same theme, and it has that good old Lost Woods song from the previous game. Now there's a monkey that you can optionally talk to at the beginning who will take you along the correct path, but you have to be quick in order to keep up. So the path changes depending on which day it is, so that can make things a little bit confusing. But that shouldn't be a problem as long as you keep up with your little friend. This may be a great time to use the bunny hood if you got it along with me in the last video, so I'd recommend you do that. At the end, you'll find a familiar-looking character named Koume, and she and her twin sister together were a boss in one of the temples in the last game. But in Majora's Mask, they're just regular people, or witch people anyways, who happen to look the same and have the same names. She explains that she was out picking mushrooms and the Skull Kid came up from behind and beat her up. Man, he seriously has nothing else better to do than slap around old ladies? What a loser. Anyway, Koume asks you for something to give her energy, and by that she means a potion to restore her health. We don't actually have anything like that, so she'll just scold us for pretending to be helpful. Naughty Link, just pretending to be a hero and all. You want to go ahead and leave the Woods of Mystery now and enter that Magic Hags potion shop that I told you about earlier, and told you to ignore. And this time you want to go ahead and speak with Kotake only after you have spoken with Koume, and Link will apparently relate the story, but you can't actually show Link talking though, since that's a big Nintendo no-no, having Link actually talk. Kotake will fork over the bottle filled with the red potion for free, and at this point you can actually drink it if you want, but then you'll have to go get more from Kotake and she'll yell at you for drinking it. After that's all over with, though, we'll get to keep the bottle, which is ironically more valuable than the potion, so we're actually getting a really sweet end of the deal here. So anyways, go ahead and take that potion all the way over back to Koume. So run outside and re-enter the Woods of Mystery, and this time around I'm just going to go ahead and run through without the help of the monkey so that you can see how that works. There's also a new enemy in here that I didn't have time to mention before, but these snappers can be killed by either using the Deku Flowers to shoot up into their tender belly when they're passing over you, or you can use bombs or the blast mask to flip them over, and then stab at them while they're still vulnerable. They'll flip themselves back over again after a while, but if you are quick, then you can kill them easily. Now you don't actually have to fight these snappers, especially these ones. You can just ignore them completely and run past them, and I'd actually recommend that you just ignore them, but I'm just showing this just so you can see how it's done. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the Woods of Mystery change depending on what day it is, so if you're going through here on the second or third days, it'll be different. The path is changed, and it'll be different than what you just saw me do. Okay, so once you make it back to Koume, do not use the potion. You want to speak with her instead. Remember, in Majora's Mask, you trade items with other characters while in the middle of conversation. This is different than a lot of the other games in the Zelda series, so it's understandable that people get confused by this. So trying to use the item while standing next to her is a bad deal. So yeah, talk to her, then give her the potion. So this confuses a lot of people. It's totally understandable, but, you know, like I say, this is like one of our frequently asked questions in the entire Zelda series. People send us emails all the time. I use the potion when I'm standing next to Koume, I don't understand. Anyway, so she will drink the potion, so talk to her, give her the potion, she'll drink it, and be revived, as she puts it. So she tells you to come back and see her at the Swamp Tourist information area later on, and then she'll fly away with a very witch-like cackle of glee. This leaves us with an empty bottle that we can now use for other things. As you leave the Woods of Mystery, you will meet up with a group of monkeys who will block your path. Hey! Talk with them and they'll explain their dire situation. Apparently one of their bros got kidnapped by the Deku in the palace over yonder, and they saw you use your Deku mask at some point, so they beg you to go into the palace and jailbreak their buddy. So say yes, and since we aren't given much of a choice, they'll run off. I'm going to run all the way back to the tourist information building and go inside. Off to the right there's a hole that has a dark little room, and I would just hate to be in there myself. You know, here you are, you're the obnoxious one that nobody likes to look at, so let's put you in the dark room. Anyway, Koume runs the boat tour business around here, and she's grateful for you helping her out in the Woods of Mystery, so she gives you one free boat ride through the swamp. Now, these rides are supposed to be for the photo contest that the Tourist Information Group is holding, so she'll then give you the pictograph box so that you can participate as well. This item is pretty pointless right now, but there is one point in the game later on where we will have to have it, so yeah. So you'll then ride around on this boat, which is supposed to be automated somehow. It steers by itself. I love how it's just like a wooden canoe thing, and yet it sounds like it has a motor and all. Maybe it's got like a set of tracks that are underneath the water or something that it's connected to, but you'll pass through the southeastern part of the swamp, and then the boat will then ram into one of the big octos. There's two of them in Southern Swamp, and they're guarding the second half of the swamp for who knows what reason. They're very territorial, I guess. But this gives us access to the southern half of Southern Swamp, where the water is filled with poison that will hurt you if you touch it. Ouch, 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 ouch. Once the boat comes to a stop, it will ask you if you would like to disembark. For those of you who are glancing around the room for a dictionary right about now, that translates to, would you like to get off the boat now? So say yes, and follow the monkey into the Deku Palace, where I will meet up with you in the next video. See ya.